What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Golden Dice Podcast, episode number 45. This is Jack, your host, as always. With me, we're back down to our normal numbers, and there's just three of us today. But with me, I have Scott and Brian. How are you guys doing tonight?
Hoping for zero audio issues this week.
I'm doing great. Although I have to dispute, Jack, you've not always been the host. Tommy did it once or twice.
Those are the dark episodes.
The dark times.
The dark times where I was away in the summer. That was the first time you came on. It was like you, Tommy, and Shane. Tommy.
Yeah.
Tommy hosted the stream this week. Yeah, he's my little prodigy.
That was fun to watch.
Yeah, it was fun to watch Shane run a hard counter into what Tommy was trying to do.
I don't think it was really a hard counter. I think Tommy actually may have been able to win the first game had he just ignored Mauler.
I don't know. I think it was still uphill climb for him.
Yeah, but he's never going to kill Mauler in that situation, so he might as well just ignore him.
Yeah, and just go a different route rather than the Grievous wheel bike. Try to play some of those hard things. Because in 2 rounds, the Grievous wheel bike is gone.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well bring it out and force him to do it, because that's almost like mitigation.
Yeah.
I can see a deck like centering around a support that's like a fist or a planetary, but like Grievous' wheel bike, I'm still not sold on that. Sorry, Tommy.
Well, I mean, I think it's a fine strategy. It's just like with the black 2 and Mauler, it could literally just die like that round because he could just. I mean, the black 2's got a 2, 3, 4 on it, right, for range sides.
Yeah.
Because it's a +1 while Mauler is spotted at all times. So it works with his ability. So literally, he could get the 3 or the 4 and just blow it off the board. It doesn't need the resource for it for the 4-for-1. So it just could too easily get sniped, I think.
I get that, but I think putting the damage into Mauler was a bad idea because you can't kill him before he kills it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I agree with that. You pump it into probably Watt.
You pump it into Watt.
Watt, yeah.
That was even in Shane's Jakku Junkyard article. He said that, obviously Mauler is his little addition, and Watto's fueling the engine, but once Watto resolves his dice 2 or 3 times, he doesn't need to do it anymore. Watt is the one giving him the shenanigans.
Yeah, I only read articles that are from people who play Destiny, so.
Yeah, that's old talk.
I wouldn't know about that, yeah.
Dude, he 2-0'd Tommy, dude. 2-0'd.
Yeah,
that is true.
Tommy has not won a game on the Golden Dice podcast stream.
It's embarrassing.
That's pretty funny, actually. Maybe he should not play Grievous's wheel bike. On the stream. Just save it for off the stream.
Yeah. Anybody that's looking for them, they've been fun. We like talking to the guests during them and stuff. It's a good time, so people should be on the lookout for our stream. So we'll get more into that as we kind of.
Didn't you not announce one of the streams one time because you didn't want to @ everybody?
Well, the Saturday one wasn't really like we weren't sure if we were or not, so it was just something we just kind of did. And I didn't really @ anybody. I kind of posted a little bit on the social medias before we went live, maybe like an hour or 2 before, but yeah, it wasn't like planned because on the podcast last week we just said Friday, and then Saturday Tommy and Shane came over, and that's when we did the brother battle.
Did they have anything at stake? Inheritance?
Yeah, inheritance. No, I don't think they did. Since it was impromptu, we didn't do a giveaway or anything, but we've got some stuff in the works for that as well. Yeah, so we'll dive into what happened this week for us. We started at a new store, and we started a sealed escalation league, which is you open 6 packs, and you pick one of the starters, either Obi-Wan or Grievous, and then you start making your team out of that. And you're kind of locked into that starter as you go through. But it wasn't clear to some of the people, so we'll let some people switch. But overall, it was fun, and I actually really liked the store we were
Flockton? Was it not clear to Flockton?
Well, if it was just him, I would have been like, all right, that's probably his fault. But John was not aware or necessarily sure either. So.
Oh, that's fair. No, he's a person with rationale.
Yeah.
I don't think. I mean, I think John went with the Obi-Wan starter anyway. There's no reason to switch out of the Obi-Wan starter.
Yeah, and he pulled Force Storm too, so
I
like
mean,
he wants that blue yellow.
yeah, it's just they're the better characters. You'd have to
Yeah, I
pull,
agree.
you'd have to be like super deep into the season and having take a lot of losses to get some more packs before, I think Grievous would even be viable in a lot of ways. Even if he's actually probably the significantly more viable standard character.
Yeah, that's fair. I like all the supports and stuff in his deck, but he's just man.
Are you
There's
are
no way he
you
gets
saying
blown out
that
of the water.
are you saying that Obi-Wan is bad as the man who came 3-0?
Oh no,
Well,
No,
I'm,
no,
he
sa-
said
I-
Grievous is bad.
I'm
The
saying
Grievous starters.
Grievous is bad in sealed. I'm saying he's probably better in standard just because he's 12 points and
Oh, okay.
decreases build cost of droids.
Yeah, I guess I misheard you.
All right, Flockton.
You can't overwrite a non-unique.
No, it was unique. It was
Yeah,
it was
unique.
he tried.
So the play was Scott won on overwriting. Well, so he had 3 upgrades. Any he could have overwritten, but he had a Palp Saber in play. So he overwrites, and Flockton responds, "You can't overwrite uniques." And that was the ping damage that got the kill. So it was a good laugh for everybody watching because you guys were the last game, so we all got to experience that. Scott just got up and walked away laughing. Well,
Hey, you want he's trying at that point. He's got his dice in the pool, and I'm just killing him with a ping. So he's like, no, it can't happen. You're not doing it this way to me.
yeah.
Last stand.
He was making a last stand. It's not a good stand, but it was a last stand.
But yeah, I mean, I thought the store was awesome. It was actually my first time at Tiki Tiki and Brian's as well. But Scott, you had been there before.
Yes, I had apparently. I had forgotten that I had.
Apparently.
Well, no, they moved locations a few years ago, and I thought I was at the old location, but really, what I think it was, their Facebook or their website at the time had the old location. That's where I went originally, and then had to go down the street. But I never stepped foot in the old location.
Oh, okay.
It's
I
big.
thought the
It's
Yeah.
expansive. It's
I
eclectic.
love the vibe. Yeah.
It kind of looks like a old warehouse record store thing going on, and they sell records and airsoft guns
And yo-yos.
and yo-yos,
and yo-yos and fidget spinners, I think,
and classic video games.
and classic video games, and then
I
used
like
board
ran
games.
there first.
And they
And-
they have like a board game rental section. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and they got
I like the vibe of it.
they got a bunch of pop vinyls.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. Whole wall of them. It's
Yeah.
really neat.
I like it. The tables too are like, normally go to a game store, it's just those
They're
white
kitchen tables.
fold out ones. Yeah, they're kitchen. Same thing with the chairs and stuff. But then they do have like a few. You could tell they're designed for like X-wing type tables, which
Yeah,
are
miniature gaming tables.
yeah. Overall, it was awesome. It stinks just kind of them getting to the game late because they like didn't order enough product. So it was actually weird. I had to like go buy from another store and then bring an extra box with me.
Yeah,
Which we did need.
Another store is getting sales from that, but I mean, it's a case of, and I'm sure there's a number of stores that are in this same thing. I'm sure there's even, like, I think what Miniature Market is, they've announced recently they're not going to be buying any more singles. Stores that jumped in early, like Awakenings and Second Set Spirit, they bought a ton because at the time you couldn't find it anywhere. So like buying Destiny, you were almost immediately going to sell it. But if you kept doing that for too long, all of a sudden you got stuck with a bunch that you couldn't sell after a while.
Yeah, Empire at War is where it really caught up to stores.
Yeah.
Like there's still Empire at War boxes like everywhere. They
Yeah.
were going for Amazon or eBay for like $8 at one point. Like
Yeah, 100%. It was just a case of stores were just buying as much as they could for the first 2 sets because you couldn't find it, and then all of a sudden availability got to the normal point, and it just was like, oh, we're stuck with a bunch of boxes. So that store kind of like dropped off for the second wave or the second like cycle because they had gotten burned previously, and it was the same thing with like singles. You had a bunch of stores buying like a bunch of players extras for what at the time was seen as a good price, but then that price was really overinflated and they couldn't move those cards. So it's like,
And that's why stores love me, the man who buys cases at a time.
Yeah, that you help.
You're not the guy that walks in saying, I'm going to buy the case. You're the guy that walks in, says they're going to buy 3, and then the store owner convinces you to buy a case. Which to me are 2 different situations.
I mean, he said it's going to be pre-order price, and who am I to turn down a deal like that? I just have a little, I like sales. What can I say?
But you do realize, like,
It
if
was
you weren't going to
$6
spend the
different.
money,
Yeah, I know.
and then you spent the money, you didn't save any money.
I ended up in my savings. I'm actually in the red, not the black. So whatever. But I'm sorry, the green, Jack.
The green.
Yeah, the green.
Of course.
Now, I'll say this for players, especially like new players getting into the game, don't overbuy. Don't do that to yourself, because that's something that we see a lot. We've seen with players where players buy too much, that you have a ton of cards that you're never going to use, especially players that maybe are a little bit more budget conscious usually. So what happens is they buy a ton of stuff, they spend too much money, and then a set or 2 later, they're like, I can't afford to keep playing this game because it cost me $500 a set. But it doesn't. You could have played the exact same decks that you played exactly as much as you played, and spent half as much, if not less, had you been more strategic with your purposes. Now, if you want to collect a playset and that's just the type of person you are and you don't care that you're spending that much per set, awesome. Definitely go do that, because that's what you want to do. But if you're going to be the type of person that's going to then have to worry like, oh, I'm spending too much on this game, think about what you're purchasing before you just buy cases.
Don't tell the American consumer what to do, Scott.
Is that a dig?
That's not a dig. No, that's not a dig at you.
Yeah.
You want to have like the playset of everything, but there's definitely been occasions where we've seen it like on the Facebook groups. We've even seen it like locally. Like our buddy Joe did it at one point. He's like, I don't think I can afford to keep going. And it's like, Joe, you bought 9 boxes of Spirit of Rebellion. Don't buy 9 boxes. You have like a playset plus, and there's like 10 of us that play. You could have borrowed things. You didn't need to buy all this.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I mean, this time I'm not going to go ahead and buy... To be fair, I'm not going to buy a case next time. I have to look into that show. I'm not going to buy a case next time, but this time it really did work out well for me, because everything was so evenly spread.
Down.
And this is why I'm doing it. It is on recorded media. I am saying I'm not going to buy another case.
No. There's no way that... You literally last, 5 months ago, you said you weren't even going to buy the set. You were going to get a box. Maybe. And then you're like, okay, here's 6 cases. 6 boxes.
6 cases. Could you imagine? If I had money, wow, I'd be so much happier. No, but I'm not gonna do it this time. But it worked out fine this time, because between the two of us,
you didn't pull any Crime Lords.
I didn't pull a single Crime Lord from 6 boxes, which
that's
I think
impressive.
honestly,
yeah,
that's an achievement of itself. But since we kind of cannibalized the boxes for what we needed after our 4th, 5th box, I think it worked out fine. And especially since you had that box that you kind of forgot about, we kind of made it work from there. You, unfortunately, had a lot of bad luck with repeats and such, but I didn't have all that much bad luck.
3 Crime Lords and 4 boxes, I think is what I got.
Yeah.
Yep,
My 4th.
You sucked it all up.
Yeah. Dude, that's how it goes, man. I sit
close
there
to me.
and I watch Brian open everything he needs and wants, and I pull the worst legendaries.
Flocking gets the rolls, and I get the pulls.
Yep.
And I get the placements.
That's pretty funny.
Get
Ouch.
bent.
Ouch.
Get bent, son.
Who
All right.
who topped the regional first?
Who got further? The
Yeah,
next 2
yeah,
times.
you. Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay.
All right, let's move into the sealed league that we started. Overall, I didn't do too hot. My pairing ended up being Satine, K2, and Slymore, with Separatist Conspiracy as my plot. The Conspiracy was actually pretty nice, being able to draw that extra card or disrupt my opponents. In either way.
That's a great plot. It's especially in sealed or draft.
Yeah, I mean the discard. Like, a lot of times people were just like, okay, I'm going to discard this card that has no relevance to, my game plan anyways. I just needed 30 cards. So sometimes it's just kind of waste.
But that's less rerolls.
Yeah, definitely.
That's cool.
What struggled for me was Slymore. The double focus is nice, but then they just
don't have enough damage dice.
And, yeah, she's not doing damage. The blanking was kind of nice and discarding a card, but overall not relevant. And I didn't feel like I could have just done, Obi Satine and probably moved on with my life. But like K2 is pretty good in limited format. But I
K2
probably
I
power
think
action
is fine. Yeah.
I power action like 3 times with him and hit blanks, and so he
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
really get to reroll anything. Yeah, so I pulled like Sly, K2, Jabba, Yoda Spirit, Unscrupulous, and yeah, I still forget what my 6th is. So I pulled that and went for the rainbow. Although just going Obi Satine like Scott did probably could have just been fine.
All right. The only other character I pulled is Dengar.
No, I'm not
Dengar's
blaming you. I'm saying
Dengar's
that,
not
like,
good.
it's good.
I've said it. I said it a few times, I think. And Dengar's
And
really
you can pull
bad
bounty stuff.
when you
Wait,
don't
do you-
pull a single
You
bounty.
don't like Dengar?
I don't like Dengar. No, can't say I do. Can't say I do. So yeah, I mean, I didn't have any option other than just going with my starter deck pairing. So I went double Diobi, Satine, and Force Flow, which is terrible, but actually completely fine and sealed, and better than a lot of other 2-point plots, I guess, and sealed even. Shouldn't have been in the starter deck though. That's a weird thing. It's just one of those things. The Obi starter does have the gas to carry itself if you augment it with some additional events. Because I did not. I had pulled a Palp Lightsaber, which I put in because obviously that's a really good addition to a blue deck. I also pulled the Sonic Detonators. That I put them in the deck because it's a dice card, but I never played them.
Yeah, I mean they're
That's fair.
probably like a good, like if you see them early they're useful, but it's like if you draw them late game it's just like
Yeah,
I'm not really gonna play this
thing. Like it was always I had like a Republic armor, or I had an Obi's Interceptor, or I had just something that was better than that.
yeah
But you
and
know what helps? 2 instigates.
Oh, it's 2 instigate.
Yeah. Those were great.
Especially when you recycle them with the Satine Battlefield, so that you play 3 instigates in a game, because games go long enough that you might actually get through your deck.
Yeah, I was never claiming, like you were probably playing against mostly 3 wides, so you had the action economy to claim as well.
I was also just I was making sure to claim, because a lot of times it was a difference between like claiming or taking a shield or taking a resource. So why don't I just claim, because I'm getting a resource anyway?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Scott was the champion that day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I won 3 games, which means I don't get to buy any new packs until next week.
Until next week. Well, so you could in the sealed league that we like, the way we're doing it too is that you could play everybody in the league once. So Scott, you could still this week play people that you didn't play, and if you end up losing to them, you could buy a pack. So we didn't play.
All right.
So if we get a game in before that happens, right? We didn't play. No,
We didn't play.
Played Flock, Brian, and Pizza. So that's what like it kind of. I was going for participation over necessarily like the best record, just because
I saw that I get 6 points.
Yep,
and then
the
5.
person who comes- yeah, so the winner gets 6. So yeah, if you win all 3 games, you get 6 points, and the person who lost all 3 games will get 3 points. So it's like it's a manageable gap. So it's like if there's 7 people in the league and you go 3-0 in the tournament but don't play another game, the other guy could play 6 other people, lose every time, but still be equal on points with you. And I don't know. I would love to have that open play kit along with this season right now, because it would be perfect. But alas, we do not.
Yeah.
We just had we did have the quarter 4 kit, which was still nice for people to show up and walk away with a card with the X-wings. Yeah, it was fun. But Brian, what did we both talked? Scott and I said what we kind of ran and stuff. What did your deck end up coming? What did you pull?
So I pulled Ahsoka, Vigilant Jedi, Infest Nest Marauder, and A-Wing, Conscript Squad, and then like cards that I don't think what was it? Jedi Holocron was the other one. And so my pairing ended up being single die Obi, single die Ahsoka, and single die Satine with Deathwatch Hideout, which ended up being okay because if you think about it, I rolled hot. So for me, luckily, I roll out Ahsoka every time, get the +2, roll out Obi, snipe that +2 away, and then usually land on the 3-for-1 or the 2, and just power action Obi's die for another 1. So I ended up doing pretty well. I ended up doing 2-1. I played Flox Buddy Tom, I played you, Jack, and then I played Scott, which I lost to Scott because his deck was Hotfire with a ton of mitigation, and I just couldn't keep my dice in the pool. But it was great. I had a good time. I thought it was really fun, and I don't. I It's a shame I got all that cool red stuff and not a red character to use, but
Yeah.
it's fine. I ended up being okay with it, and I
Most of my rares were
lost.
red.
Yeah, I lost and then rolled out another pack, and it was an A300 blaster, and I was like, this is cool. Good times. Let the good times roll. But
Eventually.
My losing pack was another K2 and the Emphas Nest Electro Ripper or whatever.
Electro Ripper.
So I
Yeah.
could run EK2, but I don't know
But why?
what that does. I mean, he's at 14 points, and he's got a pretty good die and ability if I don't hit blanks on it. But then it's like, what do I... If this was draft, I'd be like, all right, let's put a Claudite in there and Satine, and I'm all right with that deck. But
So you roll with Single Eye Obi, EK2, and then Force Flow.
Yeah.
yeah, well, that's
And
that's
then
what
you
I've kind
don't
of been
use
looking
the
at.
Electro Ripper.
Yeah.
Yeah, but man, I
You
love
see
the
for the
Electro.
next packs.
I love
pop
the-
out.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get 3 more packs on Tuesday, so
Mm-hmm.
we'll be able to see what you pull there. Maybe I'll run 3 die K2. Oh, you know what was awesome though? That pay 1, roll a droid die back into the pool. I had one of those, and I was like, this is so valuable in K2. It
Yeah,
was pretty
because
baller.
you just don't have dice. A lot of times, if you hit like a heavy mitigation turn, you do nothing because you only have a few dice on the table that do things.
Yeah, and some games I didn't see, like, because I didn't really pull upgrades either, so all my upgrades were the starter stuff. So it was like I could only... If I didn't see, like, the 4 upgrades I had, it was rough. Like, my game against Pete, it wasn't until turn 3 I drew, like, all 4 of my upgrades. And I was like, oh, here they are. And by that point, I was so behind on damage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Obi's Interceptor was fantastic because
Also, Republic Armor was amazing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that thing just keeps you alive. You can really you just use Obi's ability to go for 3 shields rather than the damage.
Yep.
Especially if you've built out your board better, like if you've had a stronger start, the 3 shields might be a little bit more valuable because you just are putting more dice out onto the table than they are, so the damage will come. And you just need to not have Obi-Wan die because obviously he's getting kitted out pretty well. And while Satine with some redeploy can finish something out, it's not something you want to like have to spend
So
too
team
much
with a
time with.
lightsaber did not do much for me.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, well that was Satine with a lightsaber versus Obi-Wan with what did I have?
Saber.
I had- wait,
Saber,
I
Republic Armor, and like a Punch Dagger or a Grievous Striker, one of those.
think it was a Grievous Striker, and I had the Wookiee Bandalore, so that my equipment didn't count.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, you had,
Actually,
like, versus
that-
Pete, you had, like, 4 upgrades on.
That card was kind of halfway important because there were times where it's like, oh, I'm up to 3 upgrades. I'm like, normally I would overwrite the defensive one, the Republic Armor. I'm like, I don't want to lose +1 health.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and it works with the Mandalorian jetpack. Like, that's equipment.
Yeah, oh yeah, there's a bunch of stuff.
So
I mean,
it's
you could have 2 lightsabers, a blaster, a bunch of equipment on, and it's like, all right, instigate, let's go.
What I thought was interesting is that of the 7 of us that were there, only 1 person used the Grievous starter. Which, again, as we talked about, makes sense because I think we're all in agreement that Grievous is the worst of the starters. And I think he ended up going 0-2 with a bye.
I mean, unless you pull,
But John did
Ma-
too. And
yeah, I mean, unless you pull like double mace or like Palpatine, or I don't even know what else you could do. I'm trying to think of the other blue characters.
Sentinel
but
Messenger.
Sentinel Messenger, yeah, that'd be an option. That would be almost enough reason to run Grievous, but it's the type of thing that Obi-Wan is super strong. His dice are actually big. He can put out more damage than most other characters, and since you're usually dealing with like fairly anemic, weirdly paired dice sides, just the fact that he himself can be like, all right, I'm going to hit you for 4 damage. I'm going to hit you for 3 damage is really
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah, his power action's awesome.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, on that Satine dice, just up. I'm going to get 3 resources for 1. That's pretty awesome in that format where you want to stack up a bunch of resources early because you have paid sides. You have to play like bad mitigation that costs too much. You have to pay for upgrades that you normally wouldn't want to play because you don't have character dice on the board to do what you want them to do.
Yeah, it's relevant, late game, just doing that damage. And especially with you running Elite Obi, like you have 2 dice. Like his dice are obviously good, and the fact you have 2 of them that you can power action off is very
Yep.
very
I never
relevant.
I never powered action for the 3 focus, but I did it for the 3 shields fairly often. And then there was times where, like, a lot of times I was just like power actioning Grievous Striker for 3 indirect. They're down to 1 character.
All right. Any other thoughts on the sealed league?
Yeah,
It's fun.
looking forward to moving forward and seeing if I pull any more characters.
Awesome.
I'm gonna pull another Dengar. That's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna pull another. I'm gonna pull another Dengar, and I'm not gonna pull a single bounty in any of my packs. The worst part was 3 of my packs had battlefields.
That's the
yeah.
uncommon. Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, it was like, ooh,
I was lucky enough to get Forsaken, and that really helped me out.
that's a nice one.
Forsaken
That's
was
amazing.
fantastic in this format.
I mean, if I
Yeah.
pull more instigates, I'll put them in. Don't think I won't.
Yeah, I think starting the third week, we'll say you can only have 2 of a card because at that point you could have 6 plus all your losses and 3 and 3, so you could at minimum have 12 packs.
Yeah, I mean, you might
Plus
get to
the
the point where
starters.
you're like, I've got 3 Forsakens. Nah,
Yeah,
you're not gonna see
exactly.
that many. Oh, and yeah, we're doing different
Well,
boxes.
the
so yeah,
commons, like if you're running like 4 instigate and stuff like that, would be
it
an
gets a
annoying
little funny.
game. Yeah, it's a little. They're like
I
5.
think
groups.
I think I already have 4 truces.
That's amazing.
Yeah. When you got paid sides, it's good.
Yeah.
And that support, that like reroll one of your die, spot a leader, reroll another die.
Oh,
That thing-
Seeking the Truth.
That thing's super strong in a format where you run out of mitigation pretty quick.
Yeah, that comes in the starter too, so you're already off the bat with
Yep.
one.
I would suggest keeping it if you mulligan if it's in your hand to start.
All right, we'll start to move in and transition to kind of what we've been playing. In Destiny, there's no meta because there's no events, so it's really just like your meta is what you and your friends and playtesters are playing type thing. So we'll kind of go through and we'll just talk about like a few things that have kind of popped up a little bit early. You guys said you played some games yesterday. I don't know if you wanted to.
We played some games today. We played 2 games today.
Oh,
in
today.
fact.
Sorry, yeah.
We split it. We didn't have a overmatch because people have to make dinner.
Bums.
yeah.
Yeah. We're leaving it
Yep.
hanging there. It's like, will they, won't they type thing.
So what'd you guys run?
To start, I ran Phasma and Emphasis Marauder into Scott's. What did you run?
Kessrex.
Oh, Kessrax, that's right.
You had Retribution as well, which is why I never removed.
Retribution.
I never removed a
Yep.
single character dice.
Got rid of my my Quicksilvers all the time, but
every
not
time,
the,
every time every time you had anything that wasn't a character dice, I was like, I'll remove that. I was like, I'll just heal the character damage.
yeah. and I think the deck is good. Like it can spit out a ton of dice, but I think the big problem with Emphasis Marauder is that all those are pay sides. So like most of the time I'm thinking, do I really want to? The only side I really felt like resolving was the money, like
Yeah.
the 2 for 1, and then doing an indirect, and that's how it's kind of slow. Like your partner doesn't really help you out much. So I mean, I feel like at a certain point I might want like a single die Watto instead of Marauder.
Yeah.
I think you need
And-
Retribution though. Like
Yeah,
I
no.
like Phasma. I think she's at her peak with Retribution. I think I'm gonna go back to blue with her. Like I like Messenger, and the blue mitigation that you get.
I think-
like hidden
yeah.
motives, Forsaken.
I think the mitigation is a big sell there. I mean, yeah, in our game it was the type of thing like I ramped ideally. I dropped a hand cannon or handheld cannon turn 1 along with a conscript squad, and then also generated resources on the back end. I generated pretty much resources the first turn. I think I only dealt like 2 damage, and I was able to keep the battlefield by just kind of hanging out the handheld blaster just was on its 3 for 1, and I just didn't feel like spending time to re-roll for it. But then going to the second turn, I was able to put him on 6 health, and then going into the third turn, that's when you're just setting up like your seize the day play. And I've got at that point I have 2 handheld cannons and a conscript squad on the table.
Yeah, it was hard to keep up with, especially if I'm not using that Emphasis Marauder die. And like I see the use of having the Emphasis Marauder, but like Jack said, the partner, I think the partner could probably change. Retribution is really important, but I feel like I'm not doing anything with the Marauder, especially since the card that I brought, the hero card from the Marauder ability, is Moxie, which is useful if it ever hit. But I think I only hit it once, and
Well, we only had I mean, she was only alive for 3 rounds, so you did hit it
Right.
once.
Right, I hit it once, but like that special isn't guaranteed. And like even if I'm re-rolling that Emphasis Marauder die, I'm like, well, here's a paid side, so I can resolve the shield, and that's it.
Yep.
So you have to, kind of decide: do I feel like resolving this dice and a piece of mitigation, or do I feel like I want to put an upgrade on? I don't know. 3 dice starts feel really rough, especially even if you're using the power action to get all those Fosti on the board, it's still like I feel like I'm behind all the time. So
I mean, you're never going to get any more than a 3-character die if you're not factoring in the power action.
Right.
Like, you're never going
Right.
to get more than that for Phasma.
right,
And I think for yellow, I get excited because of free for all and vandalize. Like, having access to those in Phasma seems super baller. But yeah, I see what you're saying about the Marauder. Like, when we would play, my first action would be usually to roll out the Marauder first and try to get that. And then you could run stuff like for a price, but then you're just taking up slots in your deck to try to
there
turn.
are better things you could put in there.
Yeah, so it's like if you wanted to stay in yellow, you could go like Rebel Trader, and do things like that. And then there could be interesting plays with that too. Like there's no mind trick obviously or something like that. But if you like Rebel Trader into like snuff out or something like that, like if you have the battlefield, like try to slow play it where you're not rolling in all your dice and then make them activate and snuff out, remove all damage dice type thing. Could be interesting, but
I don't know. I feel like a Phasma deck can kind of get their dice resolved pretty quick, but I just don't think they're going to be claiming the battlefield that often.
yeah, it's certainly
I struggle
certainly
with
depends.
that for sure.
Yeah, and that's to the advantage of the Kesrex deck because I want the battlefield. The Salt Flats is free focus, and then also it obviously plays into with the Seize the Day, and I do not want to spend Rex's ability. I don't want to spend the resource for it. You don't have the Clone Trooper, so you have to spend it, and I'm like, I'm not doing that unless I'm trying to also set up a Seize the Day play.
I mean, yeah, Kesrex though is also like probably one of the fastest like current decks that we've kind of played around with, just because of the action. Like you're focusing on resolving like 4 dice in an action.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so that was, I mean, we can like expand specifically on Phasma if we want a little bit, because she was actually first on my list, like Phasma X. I don't know if there's like, do you guys see her being, assuming Store Champ started right now, would she be a solid contender? I mean, I think aggro is always good early, but do you think she'll stick around?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
No, I mean, I do. I think there's a lot she can do. I think it's about kind of pushing hard for the resources on those FOSS dice that you're generating. Early, at least.
I'm sure someone will come up with a better pairing and kind of optimize the deck. But I think there are things that like I don't know. I don't see it being a huge contender. Maybe like a tier 2 deck.
Yeah, it'll certainly be interesting as time goes on. Aggro is always good early, so how long is Phasma going to be able to stick around? She definitely is better than what I had thought. But I think as we got closer to her coming out, I kind of realized like her with Retribution is probably like the way to go. Like Etalzin or Iwado or something like that. Like I get the value to those, but just the fact that you're starting with 5 character dice pretty much, and nobody's going to want to remove a single die. You'll trade you'll easy pick a 2 range and a 2 range to take 1 damage. Like that's obviously a good trade off, but you're not going to do it to a 1 and a 1.
No, it's probably actually one of like the few situations where maybe it's a weaker deck going into hero decks, because hero decks do have more multi-dice removal than villain decks, which have just more better removal in a lot of cases, especially cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah, and the key versing Phasma, I think, like what Scott did, is where you remove the Quicksilvers, you remove the Mega Blaster die, all those support dice, the conscripts, squads, the Imperial, although the Imperial Officer die is pretty poopy, but
if it's showing damage, or if it's showing focus, it's not going to cost me. I mean, yeah, you got to do it that way. But then again, like Red Hero doesn't play too much in the way of removal. Red Hero plays more in the way of heal and like blocking. So if I use like the little bit of removal I have on the non-character dice, and then I just block or heal off the character dice, then I'm saving myself a lot of headache from the Retribution, or like bad trades.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, the Trooper Shields were good today too. I mean, yeah, a lot of Red Hero was like, I'm gonna first aid for 4. I'm gonna Trooper Riot Shield. All that stuff is crazy.
Yep.
Scott, so how do we have Kesrex also on this list, because I know Shane would probably go crazy if I did include Kesrex. But how do you feel Kesrex is as a deck overall? Do you think it's something that could stick around, or it's just good early because again, it is. I mean, it's like a hybrid aggro deck. I don't think we've really seen like a gun deck like this, but does it have the staying power to stick around as the meta starts to evolve? Can it compete with 3-wide vehicles and entourage and things like that?
I don't know. I haven't. I mean, it's capable of getting that, rarely turn 2, but usually like turn 3 first action, kill a character before they get to do anything. And that type of thing can really set decks back because decks aren't necessarily always like solidified in what they're doing. I think it'll struggle against decks that have higher health just because you're not getting as much from that type of an ability. The plus side with the deck is that because it's mono red and we're only with 4 sets, the number of cards you can run in it are pretty limited. So honestly, like the deck that I have built, there's just not that much wiggle room. So you can spend more time figuring out how the deck plays than figuring out what should be in the deck, which is advantageous sometimes. Like you're not worrying about like, oh, should I change this card for this? You're more worried about like, all right, am I sequencing my plays right? What do I need to do? So you don't have to worry about deck construction, which is something that takes up time and thought.
Yeah.
It's just there's not enough red cards. You're pretty much, you know what you're running.
Yep. All right, cool. Yeah, I'm probably similar to that vein. Like, I think its pool's limited, and I don't know if it can do enough crazy stuff that some of these, like the Snoke Watto Foss deck, like if that just drops like a fist turn 1 type thing, I think you're in for some.
I mean,
some big trouble.
I wouldn't mind running it. Like we didn't play the game. Brian pulled out Palp Watto for the second game, and I switched decks as well. I wouldn't mind running it into Palp because I think you can get Palp before he reaches critical mass or he's able to successfully backta.
Yeah. Well, Brian, you played that for Shane, but I think Shane went for Watto first, and
Yes.
I think that's almost just like a waste of 9 damage.
Yeah.
I get his theory was like, okay, well, I'll shut off the engine, but it's like
kill the thing.
Yeah. I think you're just much more happier. Like, for example, like if Brian's playing an indirect against an indirect deck, who do you think he's putting the indirect on? He's going to put it on Watto. Like, that's for a reason.
Watto.
So,
yeah.
Now if you have direct damage, like, just sink it into Palp. Is it like the same thing in, like, the Snoke 3-wide? Like, I think if you just pump the damage into Snoke, kill him quick, then Watto and the Foss just kind of sit there, and they're like, huh.
Yeah.
Here we are.
I think by the time that Shane got all the momentum going against Watto, like, he had done his job. Like I had a Force Storm or 2 on Palp, and it was like, it's unstoppable at that point.
Yeah, if he resolves his dice twice, you're fine.
Yeah, Shane said it in his article, that basically the same thing with his Mauler deck. Oh, if Watto resolves 2 or 3 times, I don't care that he dies. It's the same thing in the Palp deck.
Yeah.
Right. He does his job.
And I think Kesrex has the ability to kill Palpatine first action of turn 3, which means... I mean, like, they have the ability to be punching at Palpatine first action of turn 3, which means what's Palpatine's health total at that point?
Probably 15 or 16 at least.
Maybe, I'm saying first action of turn 3, so you've only had 2 turns of...
Maybe 14.
Yeah, maybe 14.
I like to really pump out barterings or
force
jumps.
Those are the big ones there, but you've only seen... say you got the Forbidden Lures and stuff like that. You haven't seen too many cards, so it's realistically like between, I'd say... low end 12, high end 15, but I think the Kesrex deck can definitely do 12, 13, and even 14 damage in that first action on that turn. So if you do that, Palp's done.
Right. Now he's definitely. So since this is next on the list, I'm just going to talk about Palp Watto for a sec. I think Palp Watto is fun. I think it's definitely a very swingy matchup against whoever because Palp. Like, if you get... What was my opening hand today? It was Truce, Forbidden Lore, Hidden Motive, Backta, and, like, Stifle.
Yeah.
And at that point, I'm like, all right, well, this game is... I'm starting off at a massive disadvantage because I need at least something. Even a bartering would be helpful. Bartering can get my hand full. We could get, the...
I think that's what you
generation.
Want. Turn 1.
Yeah,
bartering.
I definitely want bartering, or at the very least a force jump, because the force jump definitely felt bad against the matchup that I had to get, which was Padme Yoda AR, but like even that little.
I'm putting
for
some
a shield
damage
is
dice
fine.
though.
Yeah, like when it was against like the black one or the
Crate speeder or the
handhelds and
handheld
crates. Yeah, so all those felt
TLTs.
fine, but like most of the time it was like, I don't care. I'm just using it for the +1 health. But like I said before with Watto, like if Watto can roll hot, get the 2-for-1 +2 or the 1+2 even, like he's doing his job and I can get out some stuff first round, second round, and it's good. But if it doesn't work just perfect, the deck just falls apart, right? Because 10 health isn't overly good. So you really got to get go. You got to hit the ground running with that deck before.
Yeah, I didn't put nearly enough pressure on you. I ramped super hard first turn.
Yeah,
I got out like the Padme ship. I got out. I think I got a TLT on it. I didn't use the TLT dice because it was at like the end of the turn play. I also got like a crate speeder out. But I mean, honestly, I think I ramped a little too hard because I didn't do any damage the first turn, and then the second turn I ate like a ton of mitigation, and rolled really poorly and didn't really do any damage that turn. I don't think I started doing damage until turn 3.
yeah. Because I was sitting pretty. I was like, oh, good. I've got 3 shields on Palpatine. I've got, I think, a shield on Watto for some odd
Yeah,
reason because Force Jump.
because
And you've done no damage after turn 2. I was like, oh, good. I've got like 3 or 4 abilities on. I feel fine. Although it did come down to I would say relatively close. I mean, you got me down to what?
3.
Three health
Yeah,
left at
and
the
like
end
I
of the
said, I
game.
think it was just a case I should have been realizing that there wasn't a realistic way for me to mitigate you from being able to kill Padme, that I should have just used the resources on the droid, on the ship, so that I'd get more dice in the pool to push for lethal.
Yeah, it was a tight game after a while, and I didn't think it was going to be a tight game, but that's what I love about this. I
I
love
should have
about
also
that deck in
maybe been
particular.
trying to hit your hand, knowing that you had those Bactas in there when you like were visibly distressed in the beginning of the game.
Huh.
Yeah, my poker face was garbage. I was like,
Yeah, it was
oh,
pretty
I don't
funny.
want this hand at all. He's like, back to it, and I was like, yep.
Yeah, and I should have just been pumped some discard into his hand there. It's the Padme Yoda AR, obviously, like you killed Yoda first because Padme was, I guess, a little bit
Shielded up.
shielded up and tanked up, and you just wanted to get the Yoda dice off the board because you didn't feel like having me generate shields and focus,
Right.
turns. Um, yeah, it's the type of thing you have to get dice out because your character dice aren't dealing that much damage. Um, and yeah, I think there was times where I think I just sequenced poorly between like I should have probably re-rolled a little bit more, or focus things in a different manner. There was times where I felt like I was just cannibalizing too many of my own dice, using them as actual focus instead of damage, and I wasn't putting enough damage out. Because in that last turn, I hit you for like what, 13 indirect, and then
13 indirect.
3 direct.
Yeah,
So that's
it
how
was
little
rough.
damage that I had done. Well, I mean, you did heal 10. I had done so little damage early that 16 damage in the last turn didn't kill you.
Right. Yeah, and then that's the best as well. And at a certain point, I was even just using Watto's dice for discards because
Yep.
that
Well,
was fine as
yeah,
well. Like,
you were out of things to play anyway.
right? Yeah, no, I had nothing in my hand that I was like, ah, I'll miss this. But I even played an Imperialis. Like,
Yep.
I
And
was
and you
scraping the bottom of the
and you
barrel.
dealt 4 indirect damage with it with straight
I
rollout,
did.
which was annoying because that was like
Sure was.
the now I really can't mitigate. I should have been trying to activate quicker.
Right.
Yeah, it's just it was a tight game, and I think if I put any pressure on you turn 1 or 2, then I probably am able to find it there. But then again, you started with no abilities turn 1, so that was really bad.
Right. Yeah, I was pretty sure I didn't have that game starting at such a huge disadvantage. But yeah, the fact that you ramped real hard, and I don't know if me going for Yoda first is the right move or the wrong move. I'm still like kind of in the middle with that, but I think that it worked out fine for what it was. But if I can turn off the focused is indirect thing, I mean
Hmm.
that's awesome. I'm still not sure though.
I mean, you did have multiple occasions where Padme was full on shields, and I wasn't actually gaining shields from the ship.
Right.
And you avoided like a first turn, first aid, which I had.
That's a good thing to avoid. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like both those decks seem strong. I think Palp's gonna go down as a tier 1 deck. I think he's really, really good. It's just a
He's
matter
who I
of
see myself playing.
what's that?
He's definitely who I see myself playing for at least the beginning of this set.
Well, yeah,
It's a super expensive deck.
It is.
he's basically like Vader, but better. Like I don't know. It seems like a similar play style. You just load him up, roll him out, and resolve your damage, like big damage sides.
The difference is Vader does it without having to put anything on him. You put one thing on him, and then he's going to kill.
Yeah, sure. But like I don't know, Vader just doesn't seem as strong. Like he seems easier to counter at this point. Where I think Palps, unless people start running like 2 times mind extraction.
Vader doesn't. Well, yeah, that's a big thing that you have to worry about. Vader doesn't get the resource generating monkey.
Yeah, exactly. He's 3 more points. What is he? No, he's not 21. What is he?
23, I think.
23. Yeah, because yeah.
24/7 is Greedo. Yeah.
So I mean, he's 5 points more, and then Palp can even extend his health up to 15, and beyond, just roll out like 8 dice. So I think he's better, but it feels like a similar deck to me. But Palp seems real good. I'm not necessarily sold on Padme Yoda as being like the best Padme deck, although it certainly seems pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's what I had built together, and I think there's a few ways to go with it. You're playing AR, so you can use mods because you're getting a vehicle out early, and then obviously mods are very aggressively costed for what they are. Like TLT's dice is better than every 2-drop you can drop, except for a handheld cannon, which you should also be running.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I mean, you just look at the deck. It's like, all right, Padme's good. All right, we know Yoda's good. We know AR is amazing. Like, you just jam that into a deck, it's obviously going to be good. But I think Padme going forward, like, I still like that 3-wide, like Padme, Satine, Gungan.
Yeah, I think 3-wide's a little bit better. I think the trap that everyone's going to always run into with Padme is adding more focus to their deck. Other than her ship, you probably shouldn't add any more focus to your deck.
Yeah, my limit is probably like BB-8 and maybe a Senate Chamber, just because that has a relevant action post Padme death.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, people just like loading up all the focus dice just doesn't seem overly relevant.
No, she kind of will die. And there was a big discard in like the middle of the game where he took away my target acquired, or whatever it is, and that would have been that would have allowed me to play like an attack run into a lethal shot to Palpatine.
13 direct.
Well, yeah, I mean Palpatine was floating some damage at that point, so it's like you have to play around the back to with that. But he's floating some damage at that point, and that would give me the ability to shove it all on Palpatine instead of having Watto be a 9 health bubble shield. And there's enough direct damage in the deck that there were times where I was like, all right, hit you for 3 with a crate speed, or hit you for 1+2 with a dorsal turret and something else. So there was times where it's like, all right, had I just gotten you up to like 13 or 14 damage, I probably could have snuck 2 in.
Right.
So
maybe I should play aggressive negotiations because you were rolling out like 10 dice, half of which are going to have damage.
No, we got to find
the
villain deck that runs Scorched Earth reliably.
Yeah.
Because you could even all right. So DJ Phasma, 2, Mean Streets, claim Scorched Earth, win the game.
Flockton's ears just perked up.
DJ.
Well,
it's funny because I was even looking at that. Well, I'm mainly trying to find like a deck for Phasma. I just want to see how she plays currently into the. Again, this is a 2-player Phasma. And DJ's like in option. He's there. He's just fine 16-point character. I don't know if I'm overly excited to run DJ. I got to look at the other options, but DJ with Mean Streets does seem interesting to me. So
DJ just feels so bad. I mean, after playing Snoke DJ in Standard, and getting all those like 4-speed Sith holocrons, stuff like that, and just like ramping into all this cool stuff with Snoke, and I don't know, it just doesn't feel as good anymore.
Yeah, but that's also different decks. Like I'm probably not going to splash blue with DJ, and also back then you had to worry about hyperspace jump, retreat, things like that, where and also like hit and run. There was a lot more like mitigatable damage that you had to worry about, and obviously if you can't mitigate their damage, then DJ is kind of bad. And so
right.
I mean, right now you have Instigate, but that's still like it costs them a resource and things like that, so it's not as easily available.
Yeah.
But I still don't like him necessarily, and then it's like, okay, DJ then runs into Phasma, Sentinel, Retribution. It's like, okay, I'll remove your dice, take indirect. Oh, you just put that on the Sentinel. Oh, and now Retribution, you do damage to DJ. Like, obviously that's a pretty poor trade-off. And then also you could just run into Watto, and it's like, all right, well, I can't remove those 2 dice.
I'm gonna do DJ Watto Profiteering.
You do that.
And Entourage. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be the best deck. Best deck.
The best.
The
DJ's
best.
a scoundrel,
Tremendous.
right?
Yeah. That's why I was looking at him with Mean Streets. Like, to me, that's interesting. Mean Streets, like Deja Vu. Like, there could be some interesting dumb plays in there. All right, we'll move on. So we talked Padme, we talked Pout, talked Phasma, talked Kessin Rex. So we'll move on to the mold of Aphra. So here I wrote Aphra Grievous Messenger just because that's the deck that I like the most, but also people have been talking about, like, Aphra Grievous Battle Droid. And so that, you could take it a few different ways, but the 3-wide is what I like the best of that. But how relevant do you think Aphra is going to be coming into this new standard? Do you think she's relevant? I mean, so far with the testing that I had at this deck, it seems pretty strong. I've still gone back and forth about everything that I'm running, but so far I've leaned into droids. So, like, I'm running 2 Stap, 2 Assassin, 2 BT, 2 000. I even run, like, 1 ID10. And, it seemed pretty strong for me. And now you can actually run reprogram, because before it was like, I don't really want to run reprogram because it only then hits, like, BT 000 and the Hellfire.
Yeah.
And, it was a lot more to line up. But now when you can run, 2 more droids, like going up to 8 droids is very relevant and makes it more. But reprogram kind of clogs your hand at the end too, so it's kind of feeling out like how much you want to run it and stuff. But so far it's felt good, man. Sentinel Messenger, the Hyperloops did an article about him. He seems good, man. Especially Grievous making him a 7-point character, 7-point blue character. I really like him.
You have a Foss monkey that can
focus and give you a 6 card.
Allow you to go into all the blue mitigation that you really want, and then can pull that blue mitigation out of your deck when it's not even in your hand.
Yep.
Oh, it's like, oh, I get a probe. Oh, I get a Forsaken. That's awesome. Yeah, he's a super strong character, and he gives you super cheap access to blue. He's got a melee side on his dice. I mean, honestly, you don't even care what's on his dice.
Yeah, I mean, even before you look at his dice, 8 health, 8 points, can be brought down to 7 points. Look at the top card of your deck and can play it. Like, you had me at that. And now the icing on the cake is he has a 2 damage side, a focus, shield resource. Like, that's pretty good.
Yep. It's very, very good.
Agreed.
I don't necessarily know what the weakness is. I think it's tough because ever since playing Snoke Aphra Battle Droid at Nova, every Aphra deck that I play feels a little bit less aggressive because I can't Snoke for damage. Like, sometimes I'll roll out Aphra, hit the 2 indirect, be like, all right, I want to Snoke. Oh, I can't. I don't have them. And so I think it, like, takes a little bit longer to pile on the indirect. Like, I think the other decks could potentially get another turn that they didn't have before because the damage output is a little bit lower, which is very relevant in the deck that you're doing indirect. So their character's going to stay alive longer, giving you more of a chance to take out your characters, and also turning off BT potentially and the climate array quicker than what it was in the past.
Yeah, but then again, like a lot of decks, since we've gone down to 4 sets, decks are less aggressive anyway.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of the pairings we've talked about so far have been 2-wides. Phasma, X, Palpatine, Kess-Rex. I mean, Padme Yoda makes a lot of shields and stuff, but the Padme 3-wide, is different. But I think early on we'll see a lot of 2-wide, and so I think Aphra's just in a good spot.
Yeah, like I said, the plus side to running Kess-Rex is I don't have to make all these deck building decisions. I can only run red.
Yeah. Well, with mentioning Grievous, let's talk about the new meta deck. That's Grievous Battle Droid, Messenger, AR. It's the meta deck coming out with Grievous Wheelbike. That's what I heard. I saw it on stream.
I saw it get trashed on stream.
Yeah, I it's weird because I said this to Tommy, and I was just like, I have like no interest in running that deck. Like, it seems like Aphra Grievous Messenger is a slow deck, but I feel like I'm rolling out relevant dice. Yeah. When I play that deck, I feel like I'm rolling out just like garbage dice. Like, even just like 1 die Grievous, I'm like, and then I'm just rolling out these garbage battle droids that just hit blanks, and I'm just like,
It's like when I just started the game and I was using like
Mon
I don't
Mothma,
know, just
hired
yeah,
gun,
Mon
hired
Mothma, higher gun.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It just doesn't add up. Like I mean, it does, but like it doesn't feel good or strong or relevant. I love watching what Tommy comes up with, but I don't know if I'm sold on this version just yet.
Yeah, and I mean it's basically trying to use its health pool as a like resource almost, right? Like I mean it's got what, like 6, 6, 9, 8 health, whatever that adds up to, 29.
Yeah, but like I would much rather have a 3-wide of better characters at 29 health, which is totally doable.
Do you get up to 29 at that?
I think you can. Maybe 28. I think for like the 1 health, I would probably make the sacrifice for a better character pairings at 28.
I don't even know 20. I think the most you could get to is like 27, and I think that's the Afra Grievous Messenger. I don't know if anything like I don't know of a 3-wide that would get to 28.
I mean, you're still in the ballpark.
Um,
Like it's not that much different.
Rex clone Cody, or Rex Cody. Wait, Cody clone.
That's a 4-wide.
Cody.
That's
clone,
4-wide,
clone,
fine.
clone.
Yeah, I mean, but like that
does
extra
Rex
2
Cody
health is
get? No,
relevant.
it doesn't. Yeah, Rex Cody clone gets up to 28.
20, yeah. Does Rex have 11 health?
Yes.
I always forget that. I always think he's 10.
Nope.
Solid.
He's healthed and costed. He's a very appropriately assembled character.
Yeah, but that deck doesn't excite me. The red.
No,
hero
I'm just
3-wide
saying,
at
yeah,
all, but it is possible. Yeah.
I think if you're going to do it, run supports. Don't think don't play like action cheating. You don't have it. It doesn't exist anymore in red.
Yeah, I mean, what
It's
if
like,
you're running mono
cool.
red?
I get to activate out with Rex's blaster. It's like, who cares? Just run ships that stay on the board.
Yep.
Yeah, or the conscripts or redeploy or anything or something, but definitely not like Rex's blaster type things.
Well, I mean, you might run Rex's blaster's fine, but like, you're just not gonna. You don't really care that it lets you activate things together. The plus side of running supports with that is that you do get things like what's it called? What's the super mitigation if you have mods and vehicles? Why can't I remember? In the
Aerial
battlefield.
advantage.
Aerial advantage. Yeah, you can play that. That's really awesome.
Yeah,
I love aerial advantage.
Just hard to play, especially right now.
got to get a fast vehicle deck that can claim with mean streets to play aerial advantage.
That's
Lando Wedge still okay.
maybe, yeah. I mean, that's it.
He's a scoundrel.
Kind of. Yeah.
He's a scoundrel, yeah.
Yeah, he will. And I
mean,
think any 2-wide deck will claim decently fast enough in this meta, because apparently Jeremy hates upgrades.
Hey, we'll get into that. All right, so we'll move on from Afra Grievous Messenger and that kind of mold. That seems pretty good. Other ones are like Afra Watt, First Order Stormtrooper, which also seems, Watt is a good character, but
You're
you
ignoring
lose blues,
you're
so.
ignoring the big giant elephant in the room.
What?
Snoke.
Well, he's in the next one.
Yeah, I know, but we've ignored him so far.
All quiet on the snow
And it's
front
Snoke.
so far.
Oh, we're still. Dude, we got like 3 more decks. We're good. Dude.
Snoke.
But yeah. So next up is Snoke, as Scott alluded to. The most talked about one currently is Snoke Watto Faust. So there's obviously different pairings that can go around with him, but this one seems pretty relevant and still like the same deck that it's always been. Let me jam like the 10 best supports and go to town.
Except now your 10 best supports, you basically have 6 fists.
Yeah, like they lost in terms of supports. Like, what did they lose? Anything? Like rotation?
I mean, do you care? You gained Entourage and you gained Mega Blasters.
ATST.
No, but that's what I mean.
Rip
Like you
ATST.
gained these crazy things and you lost nothing. The ATSD is irrelevant.
And your resource generation is better and uninterruptible except for things that turn dice that aren't events or suppressive fire.
Yep.
Things started to get crazy after Empire. Like all the sports started to get nuts. So I feel like post rotation you're still great. you're still in great shape.
You're keeping all the ones from Legacies when they were actually good, and then you've just gained this set, which is very support heavy. And like I look at it this way: you could start off with an entourage, boom, you ramp into 2 entourages and a hired gun. All right, that's your fist. You start off with a fist. That's your fist. You start off with Mega Blaster Troopers. That's probably your worst option out of the 3 total. That's still a good option.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Don't talk that up, man. The heroes got lat, all right? They're coming up. They're bringing up the rear real quick, dude.
Yep.
Lat.
That's still crazy to me. Like, it's
Rip.
heroes, I don't know. It's
We don't need
just
to talk
almost,
about it every week.
Yeah, we do. We
It's so. I mean,
I wanna die.
here's we're looking at it this way. This set was designed before last set was released, or even before Snoke was released. Like this deck was probably designed before that point. Probably even like play tested. It could have even been finalized before that point. So clearly FFG did not realize how strong Snoke is because they had to bump him up a point. And even bumping him up a point, he's still the strongest character in the game. So clearly they were off Snoke. They didn't understand how powerful he could be for whatever reason. They created a character in Watto that is exactly what Snoke wants. So it very much seems like in a lot of ways that they I think they thought Yoda was stronger than Snoke, and that's just not the case. And they were like playing patty cake about giving Yoda too many things that Snoke has gotten access to. And Snoke just does what Yoda does better.
Yeah, I mean,
Minus being a mill character.
I mean, if you take out Snoke, like almost all those supports become borderline playable. Not, I don't know if I want to say that. That might be too far. But it's like if Snoke goes, you're not reliably getting out a fist and like 2 entourages
we're not talking about first turn.
Yep.
Whatevers.
Yep, which is
like,
insane. And not only that, not only get they play it, like we've talked about this before, like Snoke then gets to focus it. Like Yoda's got to use his dice to get the resources to play the big thing you're going to do, and then you hope you roll well with it turn 1.
Yeah. Yeah, it's it's just the downside of sets coming out, sets being designed before other sets really get a time out in the wild, and if you miss on something, that could continue to be, it could get exacerbated by things that come out later, because clearly if you've missed, you probably didn't see it later. And I think Watto is that.
Yeah.
Like, don't give the person that generates a ton of resources the better thing to generate resources.
Yep.
And then a bunch more supports to drop with it.
Yeah, I mean, there's not too much to add that hasn't been said about Snoke Rainbow 3-wide. It's still the same deck, does the same things. It lost some things, but it gained really good supports.
Has access to all the mitigation that you could possibly have.
Yeah.
Because, it's 3 colors. Yeah, it's just, we'll see where that ends up. Snoke, I'm of the opinion that I don't know if Snoke can ever be really balanced. I think his ability is just like too good. I don't think there's a point cost where he'd be both playable but not like the strongest character in the game.
Yeah, if you put him to 15, I mean that relegates him to 2-wide, but it's like what 2-wide deck at 15 would be relevant. Dengar, there you go.
Yeah, Dengar.
With Retribution, there you go.
That'll work.
There you go.
Dengar Retribution.
It doesn't work. 20-point character or more, Retribution. Yeah, I mean, I think that's agreeable. I mean, you bump him up to 15, now he has to run a 7-point character with a Battle Droid or Claudite, and that obviously sounds not as good. But then you have Allies of Necessity and Bitter Rivalry you can play with too and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, his ability to, I think at this point, like, I thought maybe the 14-point bump would have been enough to, like, keep him out of the clear best character and, like, what everybody kind of pulls for initially. Maybe it does need to be also an errata to his power action to only damage.
Yeah, I mean, this deck obviously falls apart because then you're not making any money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're still making good money with Watto.
Well, he's making you a resource.
Or 2.
I mean,
No.
but then you have to pair it up because you're either spending
Yeah.
one to make 2 or you're getting a
You-
resource.
You mean you have to like do things
Yeah, you have
to,
to
to make
you have to play
make a ton of
Destiny.
money?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
I-
not much. Yeah, again, not much to expand on. It's still the same deck. That has to be tweaked a little bit because it did lose Force Illusion and Mind Trick, but I mean, everybody else did too. So, but
Yep.
Trader made that combo of Mind Trick pretty gnarly, brah. Pretty
Yes.
gnarly.
And then because it is a 3-color deck, it's going to take time for people to like sight in on exactly what the ratio should be because you just have too many options.
Yeah, you literally have every mitigation card in the world that you could possibly want. Let's find out what the best 30 in this are. And
I think you're pretty locked in on what your dice cards are though.
yeah, you're
The,
locked in
the
on
big
dice
supports,
cards,
the
yeah.
hired muscle, and the handhelds.
Yep.
And then you can, if I want to go up to 12, I'll like Force Wave. Maybe Force Wave, I don't know.
That seems like a trap. They're probably going for Snoke anyways.
It's a trap.
Yeah, you're probably right. Maybe just like an Imperial Officer. No, you run an Imperial Officer.
Yeah, you probably run a one of that. I
Yeah,
don't know
that's
if I
11.
want to because
That works.
It's a pretty bad.
That's bad.
Yeah, it's just a bad die. But the focusing that fist to a 3 is pretty nice. Pretty nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
All right. Next thing is a general one, almost just Entourage. Like Entourage is still being explored. Obviously, we're trying to figure out what the best Entourage deck is. Early contenders, early ideas so far seem to be like a Han
just
or
talked
Lando,
about.
Yoda. Yeah, I mean, yes, beyond Snoke, Watto, Faust, which arguably could be the best Entourage deck. But I know people like Tommy has been testing Han Yoda Double Down for like 3 Entourage, 3 hired muscle.
I think as far as live testing goes, I think he's hit the wall with that. If you don't have the hired muscle, the fickled mercenaries are, I believe, fine in that deck and should be in that deck, but they are not a replacement for hired muscle.
No, yeah. I mean, no matter what, without hired muscle, no matter what, you're down to scoundrel upgrade support dice or whatever. Yeah, I mean, and he was trying Han, but like Lando's also an option to do that. Interesting.
I want
like
to see more Lando.
3 wide. Yeah, I would love to see Lando start to pop up. Something like a Watto Watt. Claudite could be interesting.
Yeah, I mean anything that can pump out like 2 scoundrels on the board could get super. I mean, 2 scoundrels to start could get super interesting because then your special's a 3.
Yeah, I mean, what's crazy to me too is just like the thing. You could drop it, get the 2 resources, and then drop a hired muscle, and you're just like, okay,
Yeah, the 2 resources. The 2 resources are the
just puts it
thing
over.
that I think pushes it over because the fact that it's a tutor means that you want to ramp more and it can ramp.
Yep.
I think they had trouble dialing this one in where they wanted to be. I don't think you could give it a 2. I don't think you can give something the ability to ramp while also the ability to get the thing that you want to ramp to.
Yeah.
It's a one-stop shop.
I'm interested to see, like, we're talking about this, and I'm thinking, like, where are the mill decks? I want to see what new mill decks people can make from this set,
They're
if
there.
any.
I mean, nobody. I think everybody just knows they're good. No answer is amazing.
Yeah.
But
Nobody wants to, like, people just don't make mill decks until they have to like
Go
win
to a
stuff
tournament.
unless they
Yeah.
feel like messing with their buddies.
yeah, like I'm
Let's
not
have
gonna
fun first.
I'm not gonna show up to a weekly with Mill, but I'll show up to it with Shane's jank. Let me drop 4 TIE fighters and planetary bombardment you.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
And also the mill decks could suffer from the fact that Entourage tutors. So if they see one early before you're able to really like get through their hand, then they could have the board that they need to beat you.
On that same note, though, I mean, if you tutor it and then they rip it,
Yeah. Oh yeah. You gotta
that's a double-edged sword.
you gotta time it, and then it
Yeah.
also could suffer from the fact that like the Snoke Watto Foss deck has 6 fists essentially. So it's not as if you just get if you can just get those out of or get rid of those. It's like no, they have a lot of options. So that first turn they're probably putting down something very threatening.
yeah. And in terms of Mill, like I think I still want to go to the 3 wide, the Yoda, Cassian, Anakin. I still like that a lot, even rotation, without
Mhm.
second chance of Force Illusion. But like no answer is like the one thing keeping me be like, okay, I think I need to run Leia, whether it's
I don't
with Lando or Yoda. Um,
I don't know if I'm touching without second chance.
it at PAX Unplugged, it did well in trilogies for both Brian and I. Brian and I
Yes, it did.
5-1 with it, and then we both 4-2'd on a Sunday with it. Like I think it still
Mhm.
got it. And granted, that was an early meta type thing, but it's I think it's still very much viable. You still have that large health pool, 20, 27 plus the amount of
Yep.
shields, and having some of the best mitigation in the game. Easy pickings, garbage shoot, entangle. Force jump on Yoda's insane.
Pacify is really nice now with all if you have, especially if you, I mean, in general, Pacify is nice for mill decks, but Pacify is even nice for non-mill decks if you got like Phasma running around because there's a bunch of character dice that don't have shields,
Definitely.
don't get shields.
Yeah, and it's I've have like 2 games with Lando Leia post rotation and none with the 3 wide, so it's all speculation. But I think like if I were to start prepping for a major tournament, I would 100% take a look at that 3 wide. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. No answers, just busted along with the resistance ring. I think that combo
Yeah,
is
resistance
just
ring is awesome.
crazy.
Yep.
So we got one last one that Shane requested and put in here. It's Watto Mauler. If you saw his Janku Junkyard, this was the deck that he wrote about, and it's also on stream, I think, on Friday and Saturday. Or
And
past
then
2.
you played a version of it.
Yeah, I dropped Mauler and put in Sentinel Messenger to give me blue. Um,
I-
and
I think that, I mean, that might be just because of the mitigation.
yeah, I mean, all I'm really getting is like 2 Hidden Motives, 2 Forsaken, but that's relevant when I'm trying to play big things like Planetary, and also
I
getting
love
out 5 vehicles before that.
I love the fact that you said all I'm getting
All
is
I'm getting is 2 of the best mitigation cards.
yeah, 2 of the best mitigation cards. A character that will allow me to possibly pull them from my deck, or just like pull things like Probe. That's annoying as hell when the Sentinel Messenger
Oh, I
pulls
love that.
Probe.
That's like that Forsaken when I'm just activating the Messenger. It's like my 2 favorite cards.
Yeah.
I said only just because some people might try to splash blue into the vehicle lineup. Whether it's like Dooku Sailor.
No.
I could see a Dooku Sailor be one of being okay just because the draw and the focus.
No.
I think the focus could be relevant.
I don't. You put things that are cheaper or deal damage.
No, and I understand that. And in the games that we just played in like one of our coaching sessions, like every time I had it, I was like, I'd rather play an Arc. I'd rather play Tie. And I think that's like ended up cutting it. I don't think I won it, but I could see an argument for having it. And Fist is interesting too, but it just doesn't work with planetary bombardment. Like it doesn't go exactly for what you're working for, but
No, if
Fist is still just amazing.
yeah, Fist is amazing, but it's the type of thing where it's like, if you're playing Fist, don't play Planetary because that's your slot for that.
Yeah.
Because you don't have the ability to play both.
Yeah.
And playing one makes the other worse.
Yeah. And planetary with Watt is just nasty. And you also lose the Fist first ability with Watt.
Yep.
It's although both times that I've pulled off the planetary, I've rolled into 4 disrupt.
Yes,
Which
but
was
every
relevant.
time I've seen you do that, that has actually been the thing that like it was as game winning as the damage side that you needed to roll.
Yeah, it was definitely relevant in the coaching game. That was fun. I like the deck. I think Mauler's like Shane's like brainchild. When people tell him a card is bad, that's generally when he wants to make it really good. So I think Watt.
So
it's like Watt is
the
almost
area-
his thing.
The area that I see Mauler being a problem in is that his ability just might not be relevant enough. There just might not be enough decks running vehicles.
Yeah, like if you run into an entourage deck, which as we've talked about is a really good card, it's useless against that because you can only blow up other vehicles.
It's more aggressive. It's way more aggressive, and as far as like getting multiple uses out of the black one, that dice looks much better when you spot Mauler for it.
Yeah.
And getting 2 resolves out of it is really strong. But yeah, it's just the type of thing that you're probably at that point, like if you're playing a game where you're pushing for an end game, a support end game, you want strong mitigation.
Yep. It's fun though. I really enjoy that deck.
Yeah, it
If
was a
you're
lot of
looking
fun.
for a deck to play at locals to kill time, it's a good one.
Yeah, you get to play a bunch of TIE fighters.
Yeah.
Does take too long to play on TTS.
Yeah.
Don't play it on TTS if you don't have a lot of time.
The one side of the board, I had a tech team, 4 TIE fighters at Arc, and then dropped a planetary bombardment. And I
And you
was
still
like,
almost lost. It was kind of funny.
yeah, I probably lean too hard into like ramping sometimes. Like I probably should push for more damage sometimes, but I think that's just a play adjustment type thing that I need to make.
Sometimes,
On my
yeah.
end.
What are you gonna do? We're gonna re-roll a tie. Well, you got one tie, and what are you gonna
Well,
do?
yeah,
Re-roll
that's
it?
what I mean. Like when I'm just like when I'm at 2 ties, like do I really care to re-roll if they're showing resources? You know, I'd
Mhm.
rather just take the 2, and rather than re-roll into blanks, and then that next turn I know I can play 2 more TIE fighters or whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Any other thoughts like about some of these character pairings that you guys think could potentially be strong that we did not mention?
Nah.
Yeah, I'm good.
Cool. We'll move on to a little bit of a spoiler: the Open Play Premium Kit from June to August. So I guess season 2. I guess is how they're doing. I don't exactly remember, but yeah. So they said they were coming out with a new thing, and the exciting part is that Mr. Bones, if you read the Aftermath series, is on the mat. He's jumping.
That's
He's
super
got like the
cool.
dagger in his hand and ready to stab somebody while he's wearing all the
I thought
bones
the
on his
dagger
side.
was his hand.
Well, yeah,
The
that's
vibroblade
yeah.
was his hand.
It is, yeah. I meant to say like where it is, but what's in it? So it's 17 copies of one card, 9 copies of another card, and 2 playmats. And it's only $15, so stores could actually get a few of these and not break the bank type thing, and easily make their money back just from
Yeah.
getting like 5 players to these events. I think this is really cool. I think the open play is perfect for weeklies, and then if stores want to try to start hosting like once a month Saturday event type thing, Sunday event type thing to try and get like a bigger crowd out, a little bit more competitive, I think this is like perfect. I guess my only question is, are those 2 playmats, like is it a playmat for the winner and the TO, or is it for the top 2? Because usually they include stuff for the TO, and it's 17 copies of a card, 9 copies of another card. So you know that 17 and 19 or 17 and 9 cards are going to the TO. Is that are the playmats for the winner, or are they for the top 2? Which will be the question that we will have to wait and see. But it says, expected arrivals June, use through August.
If it's like just a play kit, the TO can play in events.
But Store Champs still had TO kits, but they could play in that.
Jackson's trying to figure out how he's going to get that Mr. Bones when he bubbles out of the open play.
Yeah, when I bubble out of the open play.
That makes sense.
Well, these are so cheap that a store could just buy like 8 of these, give 2 to all 16 of their players, and call it a day, and we still play in the events.
Yeah. I mean, with these, it's just the type of thing, like, if you really care about your TO not playing in a weekly, you're being a little silly. Like,
Yeah, no, I definitely
who's
agree.
taking their time to come to a store to run an event weekly? With the store championships, especially with some of the size of them, you can make an argument that the TO shouldn't be playing.
Yeah, once you get
Yeah,
closer
but this
to
one it's
30.
like 8 people. When it's 8 people, like, yeah, what's the difference?
Well,
Yeah.
I think especially early on in the first premium kit, I think you could really see numbers that start to get up there. Like I think
but
people
again,
could be
it's-
excited.
It's a weekly tournament, so where it's like it's the type of thing where, like, one of the things with the store championships, why, because they're, even though they're labeled store championships, they involve people coming from like different areas. You get players coming out that like maybe only play at home, so that's kind of where you need the TO to be more available, just because you're having to deal with like different play groups that don't play with each other. So there's not, like, sometimes you just have different play groups that just like, oh, they don't know how cards work sometimes. Like they've played
Yeah.
this as it works this way this entire time, and then you have that issue where it's like you need to explain to like a group of 6, like, sorry, that's not how it works. And
Yeah.
it's
yeah,
like,
and sometimes you just got to tell Flockton he can't bring a second Foss die from outside into the Phasma deck that he just wants to play.
And tell them that you can't focus with Padme into more focus dice and then resolve them as indirect.
Or that you can actually, in fact, overwrite unique upgrades into different unique upgrades.
All of these things. But I think it is like a little bit too note though. I think Fantasy Flight Zone was trying to push these as like not necessarily during your weekly. Like I think they are trying to make them like weekend a little bit bigger, a little bit more prestigious type events that aren't store championships, but are a little bit more competitive than their open play nights. But that obviously will depend store to store.
At $15.
Yeah. While we figure out what we're going to do for store champs, have this Mr. Bones playmat and be happy.
Well, this is probably the same time, right? I mean, if we're looking at June to August as
June to
store
August.
champs, right, this is when that is. So this will probably end up being more so of a weekly type event, which I think is fine. And because there's so many store champs, it's not like your store would be like, all right, we'll do our premium kit in June and our store champ like in August. You could pretty much go to a store champ every weekend, at least in our area. And that's probably not the case where everywhere people go. But it's like our area, Top Deck will probably get one. Maybe Tiki gets a store champ. The one down the shore, I think it's Nova Games. Then you got Alternate Universe in Philly, the other place in Maryland, and then up to Boonton in North Jersey. It's just like
things just
crazy
come out of the woodwork.
Yeah, exactly. So,
I mean, it would have been better for this kit to be out at now.
Now, yes.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I agree.
So, I think this whole year, I think we're going to see everything late. Like, it's going to be like, why wasn't this out earlier? Why wasn't this out earlier? And I'm still going to give FFG a pass until next year, a little bit for timing of these OP things because of the change and things like that. So, but next year, if they're still...
Then they'll change them up again next year, and we'll just be...
I have altered the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further.
Pretty much. But yeah, so that's exciting. Awesome. I think, again... These open play and the premium kits are a fantastic way to kind of get people coming to weeklies and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean that's all I got to say on that.
Yeah.
So the next,
they're cool. It's cool looking.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah,
I want it.
Yeah, I think people who haven't even read Aftermath want it, which I think. Scott, have you read it? Brian, I know you haven't.
Have I read Aftermath? No, I have not read Aftermath.
Yeah,
I'm aware of this character's existence, though.
Yeah.
Because it looks like, the guy from Futurama. He's one of the mobster guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I haven't watched that show in forever.
Great show.
All right, we'll move on to the next spoiler coming out. A hot take just 2 hours before we recorded. I Rebel, Jedi Geek Girl, is currently at Star Wars Celebration, and she spotted, I assume, which would be like some giant poster of Star Wars Destiny, Spark of Hope, and next to that is Rey and Kylo looking like they're positioned in an area where they're fighting together. So that's interesting. People have talked about, is this a two-player set? Is this the new set? My guess is if they were doing a two-player set, it would probably, I don't think they would necessarily give it a name like this and give it a big board type thing. And I'd also expect a random no-name drop for Force Friday again for a two-player set. And if they're going for the timeline of 3 a year, they probably got to hit late July, early August, which would mean they have to announce it right now. And so I think Celebration's a perfect time. So I would guess Spark of Hope is the new set 8. And I mean, it looks cool. I think Bobby Sapphire brought up a really good point in the Hyperloops Discord. He said Kylo dresses like David from Schitt's Creek. And I would have to agree with that. I'm currently in the middle of watching that show, and it's great.
I don't know what that show is, so I'm going to ignore the comment.
Scott, if I ignored everything that you said that I didn't get the comment, we would be a quiet show. Just kidding.
Well, you know what, Jack?
Drop that mic, boy.
That's on you.
The money's green.
Yeah, I haven't. I'm gonna. Moving on.
Yeah.
So that's no such thing.
That's just exciting. I think Saturday's the panel for Destiny, so just have to wait till then.
We'll see what's coming out of there.
Yeah,
we're probably getting a Star Wars trailer this weekend.
Yeah,
the Friday.
Yeah. Because I mean, you'd have to imagine it's going to be in the Infinity War, the Avengers Endgame. So this will be the first time we'll see it.
Yeah,
it's a nice birthday gift for you, Jack.
Yeah, it would have been nice if I was there. It would have been my little birthday, but I just had to get married in May, so it was like I can't do a trip 2 weeks before I get married, or 3 weeks, whatever. Makes sense. But yeah, so just keep your eyes peeled on the internet for Celebration. I'm sure it'll be all over the Discords and Facebook as well when those things come out. So we'll move on to our Patreon questions. A little bit shorter this week, but we have some.
Because
Scott,
we've talked so much so far.
yeah, we are at an hour and a half right now. So
Yeah,
whatever.
that's nuts.
Scott, we're going to ask you, this is a very sensitive topic for you, this next question from Coleman. So let's not get to 2 hours. But Coleman is curious about our thoughts about supports versus upgrades and if one is inherently better than the other.
One is not inherently better than the other. They have advantages, but the advantages of upgrades have been eroded with rotation, removing a lot of the action cheaty stuff and the things that make it advantageous for you to roll out like big pockets full of dice at one time. That was always the advantage of upgrades, that you put them on characters, they roll out with your characters, and they're there and they take less time to get out. We're starting to see more and more supports that activate along with characters, so they're coming along with, and we're seeing supports that are just better than the upgrades that we've gotten. We're seeing more low-cost supports than we have low-cost upgrades in a lot of cases, and the dice on the supports have just been better, and that's a good thing because supports were bad initially. They weren't dialed in right, and I think now it's kind of swung the other way, and I think upgrades are being designed as if all that like action cheating stuff still exists when there's not that much action cheating stuff to actually like make them that like more powerful upgrade set that they were for most of the game.
Yeah, and they lost a lot of just even beyond action cheating. They just lost their powerful dice upgrades. So
yeah, I think it's a case of maybe where they need to like where to differentiate the two. Maybe supports should be the more reliable dice. They should be like the dice that have like all black sides to them, whereas the upgrades should be cheaper for a similar like as amount of damage sides, but be the dice with modifiers.
you got my vote for president, Scott, I believe.
I'm more wondering why FFG, instead of sports versus upgrades, I'm talking about heroes versus villains. Why do heroes continually get the shaft? That's what I'm wondering. We were talking about it all when we're talking about the decks and all that. Like, look at Snoke. This is a little off topic, but that's just my thought right now. I can't focus on the question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I guess a lot of the things we did talk about were villain.
Yeah, I mean, hero, it just continually, like, look at the lat. Day one nerf, and when Snoke is like, I'm still over here Snoke and die for, 15,000 resources turn one, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think the basis of the nerf is very, like, it wasn't nerfed because it was too good. It was nerfed because it was just broke.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it definitely feels bad because now, like, Scott, I think you've said this, like, how many times are they going to make a support centered around troopers? Probably never again. So the one time they did, they made a flat-out stinker.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's that. We're probably never going to see the lat played and not see anything else.
I think the lat took a hit with an AR tax where they're like, oh, we made AR and now we're designing this new set. We can't have any like super amazing vehicles in it. The Padme thing already exists. We need to dial this back either on its die side or dial its cost up.
Yeah.
I'm going to use the lat card as a bookmark at this point, I think.
Oof.
Yeah.
Shane, make lat deck go.
Yeah, you're just gearing Shane up. This is his fuel.
Do you hear that, Shane? I'm using the lat as a bookmark. Next week on stream, folks, watch Shane's lat deck.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say, watch me read the bookmark. Here's me.
No, you'll never see that happen. I do audiobooks.
Yeah.
No thanks.
All right, next question is from Banana Crapshoot. He says, if you applied the Destiny game system to another IP, not Marvel, what would you like to see in it, or it in?
This is easy for me. I'm definitely going to go with Lord of the Rings. I feel like you could do so much with that. So much.
Lord of the Ring, I mean, I know Tommy has immediately snapped like 100% undisputed was Game of Thrones. But I think Lord of the Rings might be better. I think if you do Game of Thrones, you're just going to have Mildex win because that's That's the theme of Game of Thrones. It's the intrigue stuff that gets you.
Yeah.
I think it's either of them could be totally interesting. I would go for either. My snatch choice would have been Marvel, but you had that contingency, not Marvel.
I didn't.
So.
Banana did.
No, but Banana did. But I would definitely immediately be like Marvel.
Transformers.
Flockton would say DC.
Yeah, DC. What a chump. Dude, Transformers?
Transformers would have been good.
Nah, I could care less about that IP. Dude, World
You
of
could
Warcraft.
go with like World of Warcraft. I was about to say you could go with
Warcraft.
like any role-playing games.
But
That's
what he
like-
means more like like adding now in the elements of characters and dice and like I understand
You'd
Hearthstone
be-
has that IP, but
You'd have 1,000,000,005 sets with World of Warcraft.
oh my gosh, dude, I would love it. Dude, could you
Diablo.
imagine like
Diablo.
I never got
Oh,
into
Diablo
as
would be
much,
fun.
but I'm sure that would make an interesting IP for that. I would love just a kobold versus goblin, or goblins versus gnomes, like expansion of World of Warcraft dice game. Man, that would get me hyped.
You would have more than just 3 colors,
Yeah.
for sure.
And
You'd
hey,
have-
that's right up Blizzard Activision's alley, right? It's basically like loot boxes. Like you don't have to worry about sustaining, right? A game, it's just.
Just keep on putting stuff out, and people will keep on doing it.
Yeah.
Digital card game though. That way, people can make money streaming it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
All right. Last question is from Mancher01. And what is the most underrated Convergence card?
Watto. No,
All
I'm
right.
kidding.
Are you saying at that point that he's just so amazing that even though everybody's like
Everybody said he was good, yeah.
He's like Snoke level, in my opinion. He's just the best. So
I
good.
don't know about any of that.
No, I'm just kidding. Barter with blood. No, I'm kidding again.
I'm not sure about if you're joking on that one.
No, that's a joke.
For me, I guess give you guys a second to think. I still think like the most underrated is like Jabba. Like I still think Jabba's so good, but I don't know where he works at. Like Yellow Events didn't seem to get anything super relevant in this like set. Like Barter,
everything's revolving around bounties.
yeah, and so like I don't know, pulling that extra card seems so relevant. Even if it's not a bounty, he works with bounties, but I still prefer just that yellow event instead. He's got a 2 focus. He's got the +2 resource on him for 10-13 with 10 health. He is a scoundrel, so you could do something with Entourage. But I don't know where he fits. But to me, I'll say underrated just because like I don't think anybody else has kind of figured out where he goes. But he still seems just like a really good character to me.
Yeah.
I would say maybe Ahsoka. I think that maybe not now, but maybe a little later down the road, Ahsoka could
Knighthood.
get better with now.
I'm saying Knighthood.
Oh, Knighthood. Yeah. When Knighthood comes out, whenever Allies drops, I mean, definitely she gets better. I was already including that in. I'm talking about like maybe next set. I
Okay.
think she's fine this set too, but like I definitely think that she has potential going forward.
When we're at a
As
full
an 8/11 and
when Standard has 6 sets and you can pick the best Jedis with her, she could
Right.
potentially be better there.
right. I mean, her even just using her again in sealed was fun. Like an 8/11, 8 health character. I think she's pretty good.
2/2/2.
Yeah, 2/2/2.
Scott, you got to pick.
Yeah, I have to, and it's sort of, because there's just a lot of them. Like if this was a week ago, I would have been like Sentinel Messenger. Why are people sleeping on Sentinel Messenger? But then
People are waking
obviously
up to that, yeah.
there's been a lot. Yeah, there's been a lot of press on that.
There's been an awakening in the Force.
There's, I'm gonna say.
Did you feel it?
I did feel it. In fact, I'm gonna say. That's my response. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, it's. I'm gonna say starter deck Obi-Wan as
Yeah, that's
a standard character.
Yeah, he's
I
definitely
think,
been slept on because Blue's
I think he's like super tanky,
relevant. Yeah.
and
Yeah, especially with the armor.
It's almost it's like a double sword where it's like, oh yeah, no, the armor, and put that in his deck, and then just when you need to use his action on the thing. I think it's just rough because again, as we talked about, like the upgrades aren't there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe you just run Obi-Wan's Interceptor with him in standard.
Depends who your partner is. I don't know.
I don't
It
know
doesn't
if I can
sound terrible, but then it also doesn't sound like
Yeah.
playing a
Great.
fist or two entourages.
Yeah.
I mean, part of me would still rather, like, I guess what are some 3-drops? Like, part of me would almost still rather play, like, a Qui-Gon's on him, give him more survivability or something. Or an Obi's. I don't know. All right, cool. We'll move on. Thanks to Shane. We have a great question coming up. We're back to the Kiss.
Are we really doing
Yeah,
this?
dude.
or-
This I can't answer this, though, because I'm involved.
Oh my god.
Okay, so it's just me and you?
Yeah, well,
Oh,
yeah. All right,
God,
so
why?
Scott and Brian, Kiss, Marry, Kill, Tommy, Jack, Shane, and there's only one right answer. I'll let you know at the end.
I was gonna say before we even say anything, Scott, can we both agree that Shane is in the ground?
Yeah, I'm killing Shane. Oh, yeah, all the way.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. All right, Shane's
all
Shane's
the
done.
way.
Yeah, Shane's done.
Well, my answer
Yeah,
was
go
you
on.
shoot Shane twice.
If I was in a room with Toby Bin Laden.
No.
I'd
You
shoot
line
Toby
them up
twice.
and shoot them all, and the bullet travels through all.
Yeah, right. I'll go first. I'm gonna kill Shane. I'm gonna. Ooh.
Do you like beards? Oh wait, no. Both Tommy and I have beards.
Yeah, you both have beards.
Yeah. No, but I.
I mean, we could stop here where you killed Shane, so I think that's all.
That's the only one that
listeners
really
need to know.
matters. The other ones are pretty much just extra credit.
The
Whatever.
fact that I'm here just makes us awkward, so we'll just kill Shane and move on with our lives.
yeah, I
I've
can't
been-
believe we're doing this.
I've been married to Tommy already for a number of years now.
I've been married to Jack for like 20, so
Oh.
I think this is easy.
Tommy
for both
is
of us.
a supple, tender, caring lover.
Oh, Scott, you would kiss me? Thanks.
He's a great supporter. I mean, so far his kid seems like he's turning out pretty well.
Well, yeah, I said
So,
I would. It's marry Tommy, like it's, and then it's kill Shane. So I guess I'm locked in there, right in the middle.
I'll marry Jack.
Oh,
The down-
thanks, bud.
Jack, can you cook though?
You're welcome.
I
dude.
can.
Okay, that's a leg up. Tommy can
He
eat.
makes a mean grilled cheese.
Tommy can make a mean grilled cheese too. That's not cooking.
Oh, Brian, why would I've ever cooked for you so far?
No,
I
never.
cooked through college. I made some things.
All right.
Not every day, but decent amount.
I've seen him make a mean grilled cheese for him.
Oh yeah, well
Tommy-
that's
well,
like
yeah.
the easiest. I
Tom-
make toasted
Tommy's
cheese.
made me grilled
It's
cheese.
easier than grilled.
Toasted cheese. That's what
Easier
it is.
than
Yeah. Put it in the toaster.
Yeah,
oven.
it's amazing. It's the
All
easiest
right, that's
thing.
not even. No. All right, I'm taking it back. Killed Jack.
Whoa! You haven't had my chicken
Toasty
tenders,
cheese? No, I haven't had your toasty cheese.
dude. No, I make some mean chicken parm, dude. Trust me.
I actually legitimately hate toaster ovens.
I hate you. All right. The relationship between Jack and Scott has ended.
Be a toaster
Even
or be
as
nothing.
even though Shane isn't on the podcast, he's still causing
Causing
trouble.
issues. What a bum, dude. But
What a
he,
bum.
Dude, he almost came through tonight and completed the trifecta of article, podcast, stream. But alas, he's not
we
here.
should have had Alyssa as a special guest.
Make Shane sit in the corner. I'm in. All right, we'll start to wrap up. As we start to close out, I want to give a shout out to one of our patrons, Smirley, as I'll always say his name. He wrote a General Grievous starter in an escalation league like we've been doing, but how to translate that into a trilogy deck. And I think it's a very valuable article for people who are just getting into the game, doing an escalation league like this, and kind of some advice on how to translate that into some trilogy play that isn't half bad. And he's currently working on an Obi-Wan as well, so you can stay tuned for that. If you haven't, go back and check out his General Grievous trilogy deck article if you haven't. Also, again, we're going to try to live stream on Friday. It's looking like the time is to be determined exactly at this point, but probably...
Weather permitting.
Yeah, weather permitting, 9 or 10-ish Eastern Standard Time.
Mountain time. Why aren't we doing mountain time, Con?
Because the world goes through Eastern Time. All other time zones are irrelevant and are based off
We're
of
gonna
me.
use freedom units, except just East Coast freedom units.
Sure.
All right, yeah.
I'm sorry. It's getting late. I'm tired.
You slept for 5 hours today.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, I
You
did.
left my house at 4, and then you said at 9. I just woke up.
It's my superpower.
Yeah.
It's my secret cap. I'm always tired.
His superpower is sleeping all the time and being convinced to buy more things at stores. It's a superpower.
My superpower is sleeping all the time and spending money I don't have.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's the best.
For the stream, I do want to give a shout out to the people that have kind of sponsored it so far, which is Vindicator Designs, Arbit's Token, and our boy Mended from our Patreon. He sent us some Power Action tokens that we used this last one. And also coming up, Laser Gaming is sending us some tokens that we'll use on the stream as well. Be giving away some stuff for that. So, again, we love to give stuff out on it. If you are somebody who has stuff and wants to use our platform to kind of help elevate your platform, whether it's content creators or you have tokens or all our cards and stuff that you want to see given away, you can obviously reach out to me through Facebook. I'm on Discord or goldendicepodcast@gmail.com. So those are the ways. If you're looking to find more of us, we're on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, all the things. We got a WordPress, but to get there, you'll probably just go through our Facebook anyways. Yeah. Any other thoughts, guys?
I got a bunch, but yeah, we're running over.
Yeah, we're good.
All right, Brian, take the closing. Oh, wait, no. Scott hasn't done it in a while. Get out of here, Brian. Scott, you take the closing.
Oh, I was ready for it.
You were just going to do Watto.
That's okay.
Yeah, he's gonna do weird Watto.
No, I wasn't. I promise.
Tommy needs to step
go
his
ahead, Scott.
stream game up and stop just dumping games to his brother to make him feel better about himself.